Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the Stepson of Krypton.
I'm Mantis.
And today, I know we're about a day and a half late. We are bringing you the Clayface trailer reaction slash kind of breakdown. We watch it at regular speed with you guys, so it's a little difficult to say, oh, hey, yeah, did you catch that? Did you catch that? Because we're trying to see what the trailer's all about. But we are going to watch it with you guys and kind of give our thoughts and feelings on the matter. And then we want to also hear yours as well. Mantis, are you excited for this trailer?
I am. I am kind of excited. See what the DC can do with a horror movie.
All right, then we aren't going to do the standard intro. We're just going to go ahead and jump on into how we normally do with trailer reactions and such. So let's just go ahead and see what we got. A little crazy. I mean,
It's like Mass or Vanilla Sky or something.
right? Like the clown in the background, though.
Okay, some transformation stuff there.
Oh, okay. Oh, his eyes looked a little off.
Got the Stranger Things font there. That's kind of cool.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, we got a little Stranger Things font on there. All right. So now obviously a teaser, but definitely interesting compared to everything else we've gotten thus far in the DCU. Now, I know if you have watched Creature Commandos, which came out first of all the lineup, Clayface was in there very, very briefly, and they stated, at least for the Creature Commandos version, and I believe, Mantis, I know you're going to get into this in a minute, but they had said of all the variations of Clayface that have existed and the different people have been, this is a completely different take. Unless that's changed, Mantis, I'm going to let you get into that.
Yeah. So
I say different,
again,
different character, different person.
right. Yeah. I mean, there's multiple iterations of Clayface that have been in comics throughout the years. Original Clayface, Basil, uh, appeared in Detective Comics number 40. This is kind of I think this is the same portrayal that they did in the Batman animated series that came out a year ago or a year or two ago. It was like one of the only episodes of that series that I actually liked. B-list actor who had a life of crime, using the identity of one of the villains he portrayed in one of the horror films that he was in, which is also kind of in the same vein as the OG Batman the animated series a little bit. Although that character used way too much of the younging agent to and kind of messed himself up. So, but this version, and it's kind of the second one here, is Matthew Hagen, who's a treasure hunter who was given shapeshifting powers and resiliency by exposure to a pool of radioactive protoplasm. So this is where it gets weird because from the movie in IMDb, Matthew Hagen is who they list as who is Clayface. That character is in this movie, in this horror movie. So that's who that it's Matthew Hagen. So I don't know. We didn't see any of the protoplasm stuff in the trailer yet. Now maybe we'll get in there. Who knows? We'll see. The third one was Preston Payne, scientist suffering from a disease, used the previous Clayface, Matthew Hagen's DNA or blood to create a cure for his condition, and you know what happens there. So, a bunch of things here. The interesting thing is there's been no kind of hint or indication of which version of Clayface was in Creature Commandos. There's not they don't really say who that was. And it could be the same character like Matthew Hagen, but they don't mention it. And this all kind of also coalesced in one of the answers that James Gunn had given in a I don't know if it was Thread. Yeah, it was Threads. a user had asked, is Clayface set before or after Superman, the new Superman movie? And he said it's before. Um, yeah, it's what did he say? Before it's the first DCU film out of chronological order, meaning the new Clayface horror film. So this horror film is before Creature Commandos. So that's how the lineup is the
Which
chronological supposed to
because
fit.
if you remember in Creature Commandos, spoiler alert, but it's been out for well long enough, you should have already seen it. He kind of blows up, and that's we don't know what's happening with him, right? So
He does.
now that could be was that Matt Hagen? That one blows up, and then like or we see Matt Hagen in the movie, and then in Creature Commandos he explodes. So then we're gonna get a new one. Like we don't know, right? Things are kind of up in the air. It could go either way, but we do know he does blow up. Kind of, I mean, just kind of goes everywhere. Not that he can't reconstitute himself, but that's not what we saw the last time we saw Clayface. Now we're gonna
Yeah.
go back to the past.
Yeah.
So
And the interesting thing I saw too with this, just that the trailer, kind of going back to the trailer, it's more of an origin story than I thought it was going to be. I literally thought this was going to be like Hollow Man, where it turns he's like starts stalking people and you start seeing the film from the view of the survivors as he's killing them. But this is almost like it shows kind of like Joker-esque how he becomes that character. So it's a little bit different, kind of ride along with him through it. So just an interesting way to do a horror movie. You know, that I don't think I've really seen. So
well, and it's one of those things that we've talked multiple times because if you are fans of the channel and have been watching with us, Mantis hates origin stories with a burning passion. But when you're dealing with something like this, a character who's never really been in live action like this before, I'm okay with an origin story. You need a little bit to give the people who aren't as familiar with, and it's not bad for us to see either, right? Because again, which one are you going with? Because again, initial reports when Creature Commandos came out, it was going to be a completely new telling of Clayface that has never been done before. If that ends up being the case, whatever we go with, it's good to see that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of cool to see for at least one time in live action. I'm okay with that origin. I think Mantis is too. So
yeah. I think them picking Clayface as the film to do the horror again, it's such a cool concept because he's a bad guy. Obviously, well, you got the checkbox there, right? He's like there's some body dysmorphia. I think I read maybe this is going to be more body horror than a lot of people think.
yes.
So there's going to be some weird shit like
Well,
on screen,
obviously 90% of the trailer is us looking at him in critical condition, messed up. We can tell the blooding around his face on stuff. So body horror was a given. Then we see that like the scalpel and such. It's a very, very interesting take. Now, the one thing I will say is we haven't seen the trailer yet, but I've seen comments on it of where just because people were doing videos on it and I didn't watch the trailer, but we were like, oh, I was looking at some of the comments and people were like, DC's back and DC's doing things right. And, like people seem super excited. Now, that could be a small portion of people. What I want to know is, guys, how are you feeling after you watched the Clayface trailer, whether you watched it with us here right now for the first time or you already seen it and you just come here to see what, we say about it. How are you guys feeling about it? Are you excited? Is it giving you a little hope for the DC, or is this just not going to make a difference to you guys? Because your opinion's valid here. We want to know. We want discussion. So I'm curious to know what you guys think because a lot of the comments that at least that I saw were pretty positive.
yeah. And again, this is completely out of left field for a like comic movie studio to do. It's out there for them to do something like this. So
Well, especially given how lighthearted Superman was, right? He's saving squirrels and he's trying to make sure, and then all of a sudden you go to this completely dark realm of like, because I mean, we saw like in the, I know I saw the one that you could tell like like I said, the hand that looked like a kind of a typical Clayface thing when you see the shadow of it. It
yeah.
was definitely a lot darker given how light the Superman one was. Um, which I'm okay with that contrast, right? Because of
Oh
what
yeah, that's
Clayface
why
is.
Batman's so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Batman villain. Like I like I mean, Batman is always going to be darker. It's just how it is. And so them going to the nth degree in the darkness realm into a horror side, I like it. It's interesting. I want to see how they do.
Well, and I love that contrast, right? I love my Superman being the light, hopeful guy, while my Batman and his villains and stuff are the super dark ones, right? Because that's what makes it so interesting when they connect. Like, in Justice, when Superman actually has to deal with somebody as sadistic as the Joker, he can't think on that level of crazy. That's what he doesn't even need kryptonite. Joker just like he can't imagine somebody being that insane. But it's that contrast of how crazy versus how hopeful and optimistic he is that makes it interesting, right? And I'm kind
Mhm.
of hoping we get that with this one, given how light the Superman movie was. It was like,
I,
again, I don't expect Superman or it to tie in as far as us to see anything about Superman in this, you
mm,
know, which also I'm good that we have kind of a standalone, right? We have a little bit of little tie into
yeah,
Creature Commandos, but we have a standalone. We can use that.
I don't know how much this movie was you like how much it cost to make, but just like all horror movies, they're they don't get a lot of, they're not going to make big moves at the box office like superhero movies do. You're cutting out kids, people that aren't don't like
Hopefully.
scary movies, so you're not going to get those audience, those eyeballs and those, those that money. So don't expect a net like a huge number at the box office. Just how one rated R movies go, as well as horror rated R horror movie, definitely rated R horror movies go.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of a big thing in the um whole Elseworlds timeline of the Joker and then Joker 2 and all of those things like that. Like Joker 2, we know didn't do very well in the box office, but he's in a different league, right? You should have good numbers from a Joker movie because he's probably your most popular villain of all time, right?
Mhm.
If not, he's up there really, really close. Especially if we're talking just the DC realm. You
Oh yeah,
know,
yeah,
well,
absolutely.
the DC well, I'd say DC realm because like some of your crazier, ultra powerful villains, beyond dark side stuff like that, like your god tier level villains. A lot of people are, I mean, it's hit and miss, but Joker is that one that everybody loves.
They know
You
him,
you yeah, and you expect a little bit more out of that. Where with like Clayface, it's kind of like yeah, it's going to be a niche kind of a movie that select. There's going to be that chunk. It's not going to break $1 billion at the box office. Now, hey, if it did, I'm here for it because guys, we have said many, many times, like, I don't know that Superman and the DC survives another reboot if it's going to happen within a couple of years. This is what we got right now, right? So I got to be hopeful because there are characters I want to see finally brought to the damn the big screen in live action that like I can't keep doing reboots and reboots and reboots of okay, if this is what we got, this is what we got. Let's make, I mean, let's fucking make some lemonade out of this goddamn lemons. Like, you know, instead of just be like, fuck the lemons and bail.
Here's the deal. When life gives you lemons, just say fuck the lemons and bail.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find. Yeah, so the budget is estimated at 40 million.
So definitely in I don't want to say B tier, but definitely in B tier budget, right? Well, lower because again, they're not expecting crazy box like I know we've got Avengers Doomsday coming out. This I don't expect those two going head to head in the box office. And I know they release at different times. Like I think this is October 23rd, and you got December. But like it's not a fair comparison to say numbers. Like oh, Clayface didn't do anywhere near what Avengers Doomsday did. Well, yeah, it cost about 10 times as less.
That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, it gives you room there. And again, to me, horror films are rewatchable. Like I love rewatching horror movies. So I'm all about this. It combines kind of two of my favorite things and superhero stuff and horror movies. So
I'm the
I'm
exact
all about it.
opposite. Once I know what's going on in a horror movie, I'm like, okay, I don't really need to see it again because I know like there's no jump scares, there's no none of that. Like oh yeah, this is where you're gonna kill the stupid bitch because she just ran up there for no reason. Like I don't know. Mantis and I have very very different ideologies when it comes to the horror genre. So again, let us know down in the comments. Do you like the horror genre on this? So I don't know. I think it's good though for the DCU. I think they need something like this, and I think it'd be good to have, because right now, everything he's been doing so many tie-ins, and some people's thing is they don't want to see all these tie-ins. They don't want every movie to have 19 characters in them, right? It's like if I'm watching a Clayface movie, I want to see Clayface. If I'm watching a
Yeah.
Superman movie, I want to see Superman.
And again, because of where this kind of fits in the timeline too, there was some people said that you're not going to see Batman in this, obviously, because they haven't even cast who's going to be Brave and the Bold. However, there may be talk of him around with the other characters in the movie. You may get little hints like the clown thing. Like there's hints all over, because this does take place in Gotham inside the DCU. It I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was originally slated to be in the expanded universe, which is the Batman, the Batman where Joker and Penguin and all them, um, all that stuff's at. But they
the Matt
changed
Reeves
it.
universe.
Yes, yeah, the Matt Reeves
Yeah.
stuff, and it was moved back over to the DCU.
So we'll see. Only time will tell. Like I said, I'm sure it's only April now, and we got a teaser, which is a little bit earlier than he's done some of the other movies. So it's good to see. We'll be here when the full length trailer comes out. We'll break that down, and we'll see what we're working with here. Definitely though, like it was kind of, as soon as you see that, it was like, because there was no sound at first, and I was like, do I not have sound? Because when I'm switched to these headphones, sometimes the sound doesn't cross over. I was like, and then all of a sudden it just does that, kind of does a little jump scare on you. So it's definitely a lot different than the other DCU trailers we've seen. So
Yep,
I don't know,
absolutely.
holding out hope. Let us know down in the comments what you thought about it, and while you're doing that, you might as well go ahead and give the video a like, subscribing to the channel, so you will get alerted once you hit the bell notification too on when we bring out all these new videos. Guys, we really appreciate everybody who has subscribed, both been here with us since the beginning and recently, and I'm loving all of the comments we've been getting on the last several videos we've been putting out. That's what we want, is we want differing opinions. I appreciate everybody. Most everybody has been doing a decent job at trying to be respectful in the comments. However, it is YouTube comments, so you're not holding out hope that everybody's going to be respectful on there. But this is supposed to be a community where we have differing opinions. Again, Mantis and I differ on several different major issues like the horror genre, right? But we can still do this channel together, which means we can all peacefully coexist in the comments together. You can voice your opinion without having to piss everybody else off and still get your point across. Because it helps. It helps us see things in a different way, that you get kind of laser focused on how you see things. It's nice to see alternate perspectives. So, Mantis, anything else you got?
Not really. Again, I really want to wait and see the full length trailer that will come out. The first one, probably in a month or two, maybe a month and a half. I'm assuming. So just maybe to get a little bit more backstory on how this film is going to be paced and what exactly is going to happen. So,
because the other thing I'm really curious on, real quick, is that I know we saw him wipe his face, so you can tell he's got the clay stuff in there, but we're used to seeing him as a big hulking monster of goo
right.
and clay. Like here it seems like he's normal sized person that's able to do it. So I'm curious if they're going to go that route, or they're going to keep it more in reality, and he will just be a human sized that's got like some Venom suit where he can just extend his arms out and shapeshift, or they're going to end up eventually making him the big Hulk and clay face we're used to seeing.
Yeah, they did say that there was inspiration taken from the 1992 animated series, Feet. I think it was Feet of Clay, Feet of Clay 1 and Feet of Clay 2. So both of those episodes are fantastic. You can find them. You can find them on Amazon Prime, I think, right now. If you got that video, you can watch it all. Go check out those two episodes. But I agree. I think it's going to be more. If he wants to turn into something else, he can. But I think more importantly, they're gonna go with he can be a killer and he can be anyone. So he can change his face to look like anyone, and walk around people. Yeah, that type of thing. So.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap it on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.